What is up, everybody, and how's it going? I'm Alex Goldstick, and you are listening to the Spring Forward podcast. In today's episode, we've got a really great interview with former Baltimore Ravens running back Lorenzo Taliaferro. Zoe will be featured in the Spring League in Austin coming up in just a few weeks. A quick note for those in the Austin area or anyone else planning to attend Spring League games. As of this week, the Spring League has announced that all children 9 and under will be able to attend games for free with a paying adult. There's a limit of 2 kids per paying customer. Tickets are now on sale at thespringleague.com. Now that we've got the kids on board, let's get to our interview. Now joining us on Spring Forward is former Baltimore Ravens running back Lorenzo Taliaferro. He's a former 4th-round pick of the Baltimore Ravens out of Coastal Carolina, which at the time was a Division I FCS school. His 3 seasons in the NFL were marred by injuries, but in his rookie season in 2014, he spent a brief period as the Ravens feature back, during which he accounted for over 400 all-purpose yards and rushed for 4 touchdowns in 13 games. After sitting out the 2017 season, he will be joining the Spring League in Austin this season to reclaim his spot in the NFL. Zoe, welcome to the pod.
How you doing?
So, you began your college career by going the JUCO route at Lackawanna College in Scranton, Pennsylvania. You then transferred to Coastal Carolina, which at the time, as we mentioned, was an FCS school. And you then became a 4th-round pick, which was 138th overall to the Ravens in 2014. What does your football journey to this point say about your determination as a person and as a football player?
Like you said, I started the hard route, and part of that was on me. Just didn't take high school as serious, but I don't regret anything. I mean, I'm glad I took that route. Made me more disciplined, more contented, and made me in the position to not accept what's going on, but be able to handle it better and just know that it's all a part of the plan, and it's going to come into a plan, and what's going to happen is already written. God already has it written. It's just my job to work for it. That's it. So, I can't control. Only God can control it. All I can control is everything that happens in between that, and that's just work and be prepared when that opportunity comes.
So like we said, Coastal Carolina was an FCS school when you were there. Now they're part of their FBS level program in the Sun Belt Conference. Do you still recognize the program as the same program as it was when you were there, or has it sort of changed since they got this promotion?
It still seems the same. Last time I went there, practices seem the same. The environment seemed the same. I mean, it is a little more fans, guys more involved with the sports. It was a, don't get me wrong, Coastal had a good fan base, but coming from a smaller school, it was hard to get the stands packed every single game, but we did pretty good my senior year because we made it pretty far, the farthest in school history. So I would say it's still the same. They got a lot of work to do and moving up, but I think they'll get there. They're coached by a great staff.
Yeah, so you mentioned the coaching. Coastal Carolina's only had a football program since 2003, and I believe in that time they've only had 2 coaches. Coach Joe Moglia, who's the head coach now and was the head coach when you were there, recently returned from medical leave. So there was an interim coach last season, and that medical leave cost him the entire 2017 season. As someone who took a 26-year coaching gap in his football career, he had an extremely successful career as a CEO on Wall Street. So what have you learned, if anything, from having a coach like that?
Life after football, is what I'm experiencing now. We used to have these meetings called LAF, Life After Football, and that was the start of the week, the start of the day. That was our meetings, and in the beginning, it was just like, hey, we're here to be students and play football. But as time went on, I got it. And it made so much sense because not a lot of guys make it to where I have even made it coming out of college. So, everyone wants that opportunity to play in the NFL. And unfortunately, not a lot of people get that opportunity. So when you don't, a lot of people are faced with what is next. Well, and they got a college degree, but a lot of people go through college with the mindset that I'm going to get this degree just to get it. Other than that, I'm going to the NFL. I'm going to the NBA. And they don't take the time to take the benefits and all the things that come with being a college athlete. And even when you're in the pros, all the access you get to these, like the boot camps for broadcast and all that stuff that you can take advantage of. And I think Coach Moglia did a great job in preparing us for life after football, and I think he's continuing to do that because that was his motto. It was be a man in LAF, life after football, and I think he did great at drilling us with that.
So you just mentioned that you're one of the few that have made it to the heights that you've made it to the NFL, and now your comeback story is beginning and getting underway with the Spring League, which is just starts in a couple weeks. How did you find out about and ultimately get accepted to the league?
My agent referred me, Joby Brand with Vanguard. He told me about it and said it would be a great idea to start this comeback. Unfortunately, I've been plagued by injuries. I don't think it's a lot to do with my skill. Because when I'm healthy, I played. I think a lot of teams, I can't speak for teams, but if I had a guess, I think my injuries was one of the main concerns. And I'll be back. And like I said, what's going to happen is already written. I just got to make the most of it.
Obviously, the injuries cost you the 2017 season, whether or not it was because you were hurt at the time or because you didn't get picked up after the Ravens dropped you. But are you 100% healthy now?
I am.
And when was the last time you could say that you were 100% healthy going into a season?
This year, pretty much. Just going into this year.
So let's go back to your time with the Ravens. I mean, you had a long Instagram post in September after you got cut by the Ravens. I wanted to ask a couple questions about that. We hear the line from athletes all the time that pro sports are a business, and it seems like the more players understand that, the easier it is to accept the good and the bad things that may happen to them in their careers. But can you help to sort of personify that and put a personality behind the line, like it's a business?
It's a business, like in college. In college, you're supposed to be a grown man. It's the first time you leave your home and you get prepared for the real world and stuff. But along those lines, you're still nurtured to some point, especially when you're an athlete. You got meals you can get, people paying. If you're on scholarship, they take care of your housing and all that. So still nurtured to some point. But when you get to this NFL, it's just like any other job. I mean, yeah, you get paid more than half of society, but it's still a job at the end of the day. So, and that's where a lot of people don't understand. Like, you get the saying all the time, like, man, you got it easy. You get to just play football for a living. Must be nice. And it's like, I don't think you could last 10 seconds in our world. I really don't. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
during the season, you just eat, sleep, football. That's all you do. You barely have free time. And, the world only sees what the player decides, what they want them to see, what they won't post on Instagram or what they do in their off time that they broadcast. But other than that, for the most part, you just live in football. So, like I said, it's a business. It's a job. So just like in the real world, if it's time to make cuts at a job because funds are going down and whatever, they're going to chop. If you've been there 15 years, 40 years, hey, we're making budget cuts today and, we got to get rid of boom, boom, boom. It's just like that in the league. And, yeah, there's some things that I might not agree with and a bunch of players don't agree with. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's a business and you just got to be happy and blessed that you're able to be a part of this type of business. It doesn't matter what job you do or what job you have in this world. You're going to be faced with all types of controversy that you may not agree with, you don't like, but at the end of the day, you got to provide and support your family. So sometimes you just got to shut up and go to work.
Right. I mean, especially in football, and we're seeing it. The last 2 days with sort of the NFL calendar, starting to flip and getting into a new year. But especially in football, crazy talented guys like yourself are getting cut all the time. I mean, what do you see as the most common reason for guys getting released? Is it just the business side and it's budget cuts, and does that business make you more hungry to prove yourself?
I think everyone's different. Not everyone gets cut for the same reason. You got some people that maybe just plagued by injuries, like myself. You got some people who may be plagued by a crowded backfield, or whatever position they're playing. It's just crowded, too many guys, and then it comes down to, okay, what do you do better than? I mean, they're not going to chop their top 2 guys. If you're looking at 3, 4, and 5, it's going to be they're carrying 4. It's like, okay, 4 and 5. What do 4 do better than 5? What do 5 do better than 4? And it comes down to that, and maybe one's better at special teams than the other. And that's one of the key things, special teams. And you're at the bottom of the roster or whatever, you got to contribute on special. I mean, even if you're at the top, you got to do good on special teams. I mean, it's very important and vital to your career because it will keep you employed for a long time. And that's what I was told coming into the league, and that's what I try to execute. I mean, I didn't play a lot of special teams in college, but it was like second nature once I got to the league. I mean, I believe if you're an athlete, there's just some things you can just easily adapt to, and special teams can be one of those things, but I think a lot of guys do good at special teams because they're not willingly ready to do it or wanting to do it. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, man, I'm a starter. Mm-hmm. I'm not playing no special teams, but it's like, okay, you may be a starter today. Go ahead, don't take this special team serious. Right. But then the next year you get hurt, the next year you get hurt, then the next year you excel a little bit, and they got another guy that's been excelling while you've been hurt, and now y'all both are free agents. It's like, okay, who are we going to keep?
Right.
Hey, he's doing better at special teams. I'm going to keep this guy. And that's what it boils down to sometimes. And it's just the nature of the business. Like I said, everyone's different. Everyone gets cut for different reasons. And sometimes the guys that get cut, the team don't want to release them. It's just a business. Sometimes the money, sometimes they don't have enough. And they might offer you, but they know you're better than what they can offer you sometimes. So it's not always just the player because, a lot of people get mistaken like, oh, he left, he's chasing the money, So, I mean, it gets to a point where it's like, hey, I got to make a decision for me and my family. And at the same time, it's like, if this was the working world, which it is, but I'm saying if this was a 9 to 5 or wherever, if McDonald's offered you $10 an hour, $8, let's say $8 an hour, and Burger King was offering $18 an hour, or not that big of a gap, eight. Let's say,
but you take
Burger
it.
King's offering $15. 9 times out of 10, Burger King. So it's not about the money always, but if you're in our world for 10 seconds, you will understand some of these decisions that the players make and the teams as well.
Right. So it's two sides of a coin. But so going back to that post after the Ravens released you, you cited Justin Forsett as your mentor, and even though he had multi-season stints with the Seahawks and the Ravens, he played for 7 teams in 8 years. He played with Seattle twice. You saw firsthand a guy that started the season 3rd on the depth chart and got his chance at a starting role due to unforeseen circumstances and injuries, and really not let go of that role for the better part of 2 years. How does a guy like that inspire you, and what did you learn from being a part of that running back group when you were a rookie?
Justin, man, Forsett is one of the reasons I'm holding on now, man. A story like that will never be forgotten, man. I've seen Forsett come in, and really I remember, I was a draft pick the first year he was there, and you got some guys telling me, like, because I really had a bad camp, like, in the beginning. OTAs, not camp. OTAs and stuff, I was terrible my rookie year, but I just, it was a new scheme to me, and it was just like, how coaches are going hard on rookies, and I was just letting things get to me, and it was hard for me until I got to the game, and I just started doing good. But okay, that's another story. But Forsett, got players telling me I'm doing so bad. I'm like, man, I think I'm gonna get cut. And players like, man, you're a 4th round pick, man. You're not. If you get cut, it's not gonna be this year at least. Like maybe a year or two after. And Forsett's like, hey man, don't listen to them, bro. Anything can happen. I've been in this business long enough. Anything can happen. And I'm looking at Forsett, and it's looking like, obviously, Forsett was one of the odd men out in the group. It was me, myself, Bernard Pierce, Ray Rice, Justin Forsett, Sierra Wood, and my dog Fitzgerald Toussaint. And pretty much we knew Fitz was going to be the practice squad running back that year, and it was going to be Ray, Bernard, and me. But Ray was suspended for the first 2 games. So I guess whoever it was fighting for 2 games. They were fighting to be on the roster for 2 games till Ray came back or whatever. And Forsett ended up winning that. And I don't know. The thing about Forsett always says keep faith, man. You never know what's going to happen. And anything can happen, man. This could be your breakout year. This could be your worst year, but it doesn't matter. I mean, what's going to happen is what's going to happen. And sure enough, he went out there. I know he didn't have the mindset that he was playing for only 2 games, but it was kind of evident that as soon as Ray got back, that Forsett was going to be the odd man out. Because at this point, I was starting on all special teams, and I was doing halfway decent. And Bernard was supposed to be the starter. Bernard had our first game was against the Steelers, and Forsett ended up snapping, going crazy, and he was backing Bernard up. And in the second week, he went crazy again, and then the third week, I think Bernard went down with an injury, and this was my first time playing on offense the whole year, because I was just the third back of special teams guy. I mean, I led the NFL in rushing yards during the preseason, my rookie year, but during the regular season, I didn't play till week 3.
Well, so let's talk about week 3 real quick, because this is your big breakout. Week 3, 2014 NFL season against Cleveland. You got your first NFL carry and then some, 91 yards and a touchdown on 18 carries. So, yeah, tell us about that game, and where does that game rank for you in your football career? What do you remember about that day?
I just remember my coach at the time, Thomas. He always got on me, no matter what. My rookie year, at least. I mean, he calmed down over the years, but he always just got on me, whether I was doing good or doing bad. And it was, sometimes it helped me, sometimes I let it get to me. But I remember just waking up before the game and not knowing if I was – I knew I was – they were saying that you might play, but not knowing because Bernard wasn't officially out yet. And then we get to the stadium and Bernard can't go. And boom, my coach looked at me and like, hey, oh, well, I'm going to have to play you. Hey, are you ready? I said, yeah, let's go. And I remember the first 2 carries were 3rd and short. I get the first down. I get it was 3rd and 1. I get 6 yards. The next 3rd and 3, I get 8 yards. So it was okay, I'm feeling this. I'm getting in for one play and just making more than 1 yard. Okay, I'm holding the ball, not fumbling. Okay, I can do this, man. It's just like preseason. And I don't know what happened from there. I just, got comfortable and just played free and just kept going. I mean, it's a big difference when you're out there just playing. You know, practice is practice, and that's where your mistakes are criticized every play. I mean, you don't get me wrong. The games, your mistakes are going to be criticized, but it's going to be later. So you get to just play, you know. And in practice, they just watch it. So it's a little different for a rookie in practice. But when you're out there playing, it's like, forget what they can say to you today. At the end of the day, you get an opportunity to play, make the most out of it. And I just went out there and had fun. That was it.
So, I mean, you're a bruising type running back, and maybe that's what's contributed to the injury issues over the year. But you've played both feature back and fullback in your career. You know, if you had to choose, how do you make yourself into the type of player that can do both? And do you have a preference for one of those positions?
Well, one, I don't think the injuries came from being a bruiser. I mean, my rookie year, I had a foot injury. Just from I rolled up under a pile, and I kind of should have had surgery that year, and I didn't, and it came back the second year, and so really, and I had a MCL tear in the preseason my second year, but it wasn't major. I was only out for 2 weeks, and then my foot came back. So the first 2 years was really just the same injury. And then I had a hamstring when I came back from surgery. I wasn't the best condition because I was coming straight from rehab from foot. So I don't think those being a bruiser, but right now that's what I'm working on. I'm working on making guys miss more, adding some more value to my game. So I'm not just looked at as one-sided, and that's what I'm getting ready for the spring league for, to just show that I have the ability to make people miss and take a 60-yarder and whatnot. And as far as your question is the running back and fullback, I'm a running back. That's what I've been playing all my life. I played fullback a little bit in JUCO, but, you know, most of the time it was catching and stuff like that. And I think running back is what got me here, and that's where I think I'm going to continue to chase. I think fullback was just a good idea to make the team in Baltimore. I don't think it was a good idea to make 31 other teams. I think it was just them liking me enough. They were done with me at running back, which is totally understandable. I've been there for 3 years already, and I've been hurt for 3 years. So I get it. Like I said, I understand the business. They like me, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be able to even play for 3 years, having 3 years worth of injuries. I mean, you don't see that a lot, especially from a guy that's in a rookie deal and not paid yet. I mean, those guys get cut, released all the time. So the fact that they held on to me that long showed me that they did either have plans for me or they respected me as a player and they wanted me around. So I think the fullback move was just a move to keep me there. And I think it was more as a special team. I know Jerry Rosberg, big shout out to Jerry. I love Jerry. Jerry's a great guy. Jerry always kept it real with me. One of the best special team coaches in the league. And I know I talk to Jerry now sometimes. You know, me and Jerry are very cool. And Jerry always tells me, I remember when I had my foot surgery my rookie year, Jerry was like the first coach, you know, to call me at the hospital. And I didn't even remember the convo because I was so like sedated or whatever. And I had to call him back because I see we talked or whatever. And I remember apologizing to him like, Jerry, I'm sorry for another injury this year. Like, I wish I could be out there. And he was like, look, don't ever apologize for you know, playing this sport, whatever. And he was like, hey, as long as I'm on this team, I will always fight for you to be on this team. So I think, like I said, I think moving me to fullback there was just a way for them to try to keep me there. Fortunately, it didn't work out, and now I'm back to being a running back. And that's my position. That's what I want to play, and that's what I'm going to play. I mean, like I said, it is a business. So if that's the only way that I could make it back on the team, then by any means I'll play fullback. Yes,
for sure.
I play center. I play tight end because I love the game that much. I just want to play football.
Well, at the spring league, there might be opportunity to switch up all the positions if you want. But let's put on your analyst cap for a second, and you're talking about injuries, and especially at the running back position. There's this notion in the NFL that by the time the running backs reach their late 20s, their careers are sort of up for dead. You rush for 2,000 yards in a season, you might have too much mileage on you. You don't play enough, there's someone younger and more talented to take your spot. Why do you think this perception exists at the running back position, especially when receivers are sustaining production well into their 30s?
I think it's because you start 7.5 yards behind the line and behind every player, and you're the deepest player in the backfield, and at the snap you get the ball and there's 11 guys just coming after you. So you take the most bruising out of the offensive positions. You're going to always get tackled. You're always going to get hit, like there's going to be opportunities where you get in the open field and you can make people miss. But unlike a receiver catches the ball down the field and he got to make one or two guys miss, and he's off to the race. But us, we got to get past that, front five or front four first, and then you got another 2 or 3 back there, and then another 2 or 3 back there. So you're just constantly taking punishment. So no one wants the old guy. That's in any aspect of life. I mean, who wouldn't want a younger guy that they feel have more durability? But like I said, I mean, I've been plagued in the beginning with injuries, and I went through college totally healthy. I mean, I had some surgeries in high school, but they were mainly like just bad luck injuries. I don't think I really had any besides my foot, which is totally fine now. I had foot surgery, but other than that, all my injuries have just been bad luck injuries. They're not like the cause of out of shape, the cause of being injury prone. They're not the cause of none of that. I mean, I played through a lot of stuff, so they can say guys wear down and in their late 20s, but I think that if guys in the league, I think that he should be given a chance to show if he's worn down or not. So if he's on your team and he's still playing, then hey, why release him? I mean, yeah, as you get older, he may not be the 22-year-old guy that you drafted, but so yeah, you might can take a little bit of money from him, but at the same time, if he's still producing, let him produce. I mean, why not? So
with that being said, in case ESPN is listening, we'll get some the NFL drafts right around the corner. We'll get some analysis out of you. Saquon Barkley out of Penn State. There's been some rumblings about a running back being taken number 1 overall. And given the last question, what we just talked about with running backs, some believe that taking one that high is sort of crazy, especially with the quality of quarterbacks that are expected to be taken in the first round this year. As someone who plays a position, is that criticism deserved, or is someone like Saquon totally deserving of the number 1 pick?
Totally deserving. Take him. Spend it on him. I mean, that guy's a beast. He's a beast. There's no denying that. And then it's like, you see every year, I think the year before I got drafted, or 2 years before I got drafted, was like the first year a running back wasn't taken in the first round. What year was that? Do you know off the top? Was it 2012?
I can look that up for you. Who would that? 2012 draft.
I think it was Eddie Lacy and Le'Veon Bell's year. It was the first time back wasn't taken first round in years.
So 2012, Trent Richardson was taken 3 overall.
Okay, so then it made 2013.
We're going to hear all the typing on the podcast. It's good. It shows my research department, which is also me. Yeah, no running backs in 2013 in the first round.
Since then, they've been criticizing, there's no first round backs. And then after my draft, after my year, they just start going and they get more and more backs each year. So okay, we went from no backs in the first round to, okay, now we got 2. Then we only got 2. Now we got, what was it last year? 3, maybe. Boom. So now we got a couple guys. Why not? Why can't we have a number 1 guy now? I mean,
last year we had Fournette and McCaffrey in the first round.
So past 2 years, two backs each round.
Dalvin Cook in the second. Joe Mixon in the second.
Okay, yeah. So the past 2 years, it was 2 backs first round. Because the year before that, it was Gurley and Wisconsin. Melvin?
Yeah, Melvin Gordon.
Yeah. So, okay. Okay, we're making improvements. Why can't we just take a guy with the number 1 overall now? So everything grows. You play 1 seed, it grows. So, take him. I think he's definitely worth it. And I'll root for any running back who's in the talks of being first. I mean, that's my position. I want to see those guys floor.
So Saquon number 1 overall, and anyone else that needs a running back, you should hit up Lorenzo Taliaferro.
Definitely. I'm ready.
I appreciate your time, and we're going to see you a few weeks down in Austin, and, we can't wait for spring over here.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
We've reached the end of episode 3 of Spring Forward. Big shout out to Lorenzo for his time and insight into the NFL, the running back position, and of course his imminent comeback. The Spring League features 2 doubleheaders at the Kelly Reeves Athletic Complex in Austin, Texas. The first set of games will take place on Saturday, April 7th, and the second will be on Thursday, April 12th. Head to thespringleague.com for tickets. You can follow the Spring League on all social media platforms at the Spring League, and you can find me on Twitter at AGStick and Instagram at ThisIsMyOtherIG. All music was provided to Spring Forward by Joshua Rosner. We'll be back with our next episode shortly. Later.